Hello, my name is Emma, and I have started this fundraiser in order to save my family home. From now on, I'm gonna be reading from my notes, so just so you know why I'm not looking straight into the camera. I have started this fundraiser because of the legal cases that my step-siblings have filed following my dad's passing, and now me and my mom and our 2 cats, we risk losing our home. Unfortunately, because of these legal court cases, we haven't been able to obtain definitive numbers, so I've had to use the estate inventory deeds document as a reference to do my calculations, and this is what we need help raising money for. So there are actually 2 legal court cases ongoing right now. The second one we hope will be closed, but otherwise the first legal case, those legal fees are now about 30,000 Swedish krona, and which is about 2,611 euro or $2,708 US. And referring back to the estate inventory deeds document, I have done a rough calculation that I think we need about 500,000 Swedish krona, which is 43,517.5 euros or $45,149.82 US to cover the inheritance from my step-siblings. And then there's also, if in the off chance that we would be able to raise more than we need, there is still 382,332 Swedish krona left on the mortgage, which is 33,279 euro or $34,525 US. If we were to combine those 3, we get 912,332 Swedish krona, which would land about at 79,445 euro or $83,305 US. But I have done a sort of estimation that with just the legal fees for the first court case and the inheritance, I think about 600,000 Swedish krona, so 52,248 euro or $54,789 US would be enough, and it would also help cover any unforeseen extra bills or invoices connected to the court cases. I will just give a brief summary here, but there will be a more detailed description within the GoFundMe. And I've also created a YouTube channel where I intend to post updates regarding this fundraiser and anything that happens around it, if possible. I'm also doing this without my mom knowing, because the court cases that my step-siblings have filed, they are directed at her. So her not knowing about this is to keep her safe from any legal repercussions. And I also don't want to worry her any more than she already is worrying. That is the gist of it. I will now go on to talk a bit more about, well, talk you through the timeline of the events. So my dad passed away suddenly here in our home in October of 2023. It was very traumatic for me and my mom, but I don't know what actually to say about that other than that it was traumatic. And we miss him dearly still. Sorry. Then, while also grieving, we took care of the all of the other things that you have to do. We made preparations for the funeral, and we set up a date for the estate inventory deeds document. It needs to be created. So we had that meeting in January 2024, and that's when I first met my step siblings. And then later in the spring of 2024, my mom she went to a routine checkup, and then the doctor suspected her of having cervical cancer, and then they booked her in for surgery, which she had in early June. And though the surgery went well, my mom was ordered to stay, to not strain herself. And then she also had her issue of teeth falling out, probably due to the stress and grief of losing my dad. And also because she has chronic illness, she has rheumatism, and some of her medication can cause deterioration. That means that she loses her teeth. So that was also like a lot of extra costs that we didn't see coming. We don't know the exact cost of why her teeth fell out, but we needed to sort it out because she needs, you need teeth. And then after summer, we started applying for bank loans once her health was better, but that's when we got the first letter from the local district court that my step-sibling wished to settle their inheritance. And since we're not experienced with legal matters, we ceased all activity and just awaited instructions from the court. Now, we followed those instructions and had a meeting on the 10th of December 2024, and we agreed on all the invoices. That once we had settled on all the expenses that the estate had, and then having that legal advisor help us calculate a definitive sum of money, we would book an appointment at the banks to try and see if we could apply for bank loans to settle their inheritance. But then in January 2025, we got a second letter from the local district court that one of the step siblings had filed for another case, which would mean that the first legal case would be put to a halt, and the second case would involve a lawyer or advocate or legal expert, if you will, that has the power to do property division administration. So they would have the authority to sell our house and home, and then also close any accounts left in dad's name. Around this time is also when I found out that it was actually legal to do a GoFundMe fundraiser here in Sweden. I didn't know that prior to this. And I'm not very good at making videos like this, but I felt like I need to try and do this since I know now that this is a possibility, because I really love my home and I cherish all of my memories here with my family. And this has also been my mom's home for almost 40 years. And then the years prior to them moving out here permanently, they had this as a vacation spot because this is actually the place where my dad grew up. And my mom and dad, they met back in 1969, and then they got married in 1972, so that's quite a while. And this place with our garden and our cats and pets and everything. It's been a part of her life for almost her entire life. She's in her 70s now. And I just wish that she would get to spend, that she would not have to move and be evicted from her home of many years. Now that she's also lost Dad after over 50 years of marriage. Not to mention also that it would mean that our cats would also lose their home. And I think they love this home as much as we do. I know it's a lot to ask for, but really if there's any help or anything that you can do, please, we would be grateful for anything that you can do. Even if you can only share the link, that is greatly appreciated. And I will try and give more details in following videos, but that is basically the long and the short of it. From now we're gonna clip, and I'm gonna show you some photos and also take a tour around this day, because also unfortunately we have had a bit of a difficulty because this area that we live in has been infested with wild boars, so they've actually destroyed a lot of the garden. And following Dad's passing, we've struggled with grief, but also with the uncertainty of us not knowing if we're gonna be able to continue living here. We haven't been able to tend to everything perhaps in the best of manner. Hello and welcome to the outside tour of, well, the garden and the house. Unfortunately, the original audio was lost, so I have to do a voiceover. Now you can see the entrance, and how right now on screen you have what the entrance usually looks like in summer. But yeah, it doesn't look that, nice right now. I've been meaning to do the porch. And now we can see what the wild boars have done. You can see that they've been all the way up to the house, which is pretty scary. And now to the left, yeah, that's the rhubarbs. So that's what they look like in summer usually, but obviously they don't look like that now. And also the wild boars have probably messed them up quite a bit. It's a shame though that the original audio got corrupted, but I think you can sort of see that it's not that easy to move around anymore in the garden. I've lost count on how many times we've actually been trying to just smooth it over so it wouldn't be like dangerous to walk over, but they keep coming back, and unfortunately we haven't been able to deal with that on top of everything else with the legal cases. And this is the little windmill thingy, also looking a bit sad. That's how it usually looks like in summer, also before it got demolished more or less. And this is a jasmine. It smells so lovely when it blooms in summer. See if the picture comes up. There's the picture about how it usually looks. It smells so nice, and the flowers are so nice. You can see them here up close. And in winter, we haven't done that in a few winters now, but usually we put lights in it like this. It's quite cozy. Now I'm trying to navigate the side of the house, but without tumbling over. Gotta watch my step. And here you can see what's left of the raspberries. So on this side of the house, all of this that seems kind of shabby, that's actually raspberry bushes. Dad loved to go and sneak a few raspberries when they were in season. And there's a bit more You can see they even some of the rocks of the bedrock like poking out now, because they've been like up around here digging. It can really do a lot of damage. It's quite a large garden that we were just like starting to try and fix. Here's the backyard where we usually have like dinners and coffee, and yeah, here you can see this is a nice memory. A lot of our family photos is actually us sitting around a table eating. But yeah, it's a really nice spot here in the back of the house usually. Here is Dad taking a break in the wheelbarrow when we were hauling away leftovers from what the wild boars had done. And here we can come up to the portal with the roses. Here you can see it when it's a bit greener outdoors. And we've actually planted roses on each side of this portal. It was a gift for my mom and dad's 50th wedding anniversary. I don't have any pictures of them in full bloom, but they are like, oh, here you can see the some of the vegetable garden, like the palette garden basically. Also not looking too great. I mean, it is winter, so as you can see, all of this unevenness in the where I'm walking, that's the wild boars. And the outhouse, well, that's not the wild boars. It needs to be taken care of, but it's not on the top of the priority list. I do think we will get to that. If we can stay here, we will do something about it, but unfortunately it's really, really old. I don't think much has been done about it since Granddad's time. And here is what's left of the fairy garden. I think I have a picture of it, perhaps. No, I did not have a picture of that. This is behind Granddad's cottage. It's really not easy to navigate the garden anymore. But we have been receiving some help from the local hunting team now. This is one of Granddad's apple trees. Also not looking a bit sad. And this up in screen right now is the big apple tree. And in spring, this is usually my favorite spot because it's covered in so many fragrant spring flowers. It's really beautiful, like this. That is like spring for me. Now we come up at the side of the house. Oh yeah, we've been having some issues with, there is like this piece of the roof that came off, and we are too short to actually fix it. We're trying to get a local handyman come over and fix it. But this is the cottage that my granddad built in 1927. And if we can stay here, we're gonna start like doing repair work on the house. Despite how it looks, it's actually in quite good condition given how old it is, and that my granddad built it himself. But a lot of the repair work that we had started doing, it didn't become a priority after Dad passed away. sadly. But I've always been hopeful about restoring the cottage and maybe extending it a bit. And this is the vegetable garden that me and my dad started. We got help from a local farmer to actually plow it just a few weeks before he passed away, because we wanted to. I know it looks really, really big, and I think I have a picture so you can see what it looked like when it was freshly made here. It is really big, but the purpose was because I was supposed to put up a fence and then also have pathways inside of it so you could pass through with a wheelbarrow between the plots, so you can shift what you grow in different years. I was hoping that if you could stay here, I could continue with putting up the fence and then start growing vegetables. And whatever we couldn't use ourselves, I would like to donate that to the local homeless shelter and the non-profits that help struggling families with grocery bags. And this is the entrance again. Looking a little sad. This is what it looks like usually with sweet peas and marigolds. Some of my mom's favorite summer flowers, not including geraniums and dahlias, of course. And now I'm trying to get up. Here's what we usually also, we normally do a lot of flowers and stuff in summer, because we spend a lot of time at home, because we love being at home and tending to the garden and just enjoying being out here, hanging out with the cats.